Hello everybody, good evening and welcome to OTL Racing here on Twitch yet again for another round of our sprint race series on Automobilista 2, and tonight we are at the classic Brazilian circuit of Interlagos. The first time I would have streamed here, apart from say the odd F1 race back in the day, but yeah, should be awesome. Hope you're all doing well. So yes, had some good racing last week. Couple of large crashes. It was an interesting circuit, a bit of a challenge. These cars are fun to drive, but they do bite. So it'll be interesting to see how they fare this week. So as I said, race number 3, or round number 3, 2 races per evening. No reverse grids or any of that malarkey. So 10-minute qualifying for both races, 15-minute races for both two. As I said, no mucking around, just a full qualifying race, everyone takes part. Love the camera shots around here. So as I said, slightly early still build on the broadcast side, but I think it works pretty well. As long as we don't want to click whoever is in 13th. That's no way to talk about Sharpie. Evening Joe, evening sir. So let's look at the standings then so far after 2 rounds. So Scott, good first couple of weeks as you can see. 133 points. He's got a 19-point gap back to a fighting ace. Sharpie in third, 26 behind. Had a good fight with Scott last week until Scott got a little bit of clean air and disappeared off into the distance. Debatch has had a strong last week or so. I think last week was very much his best results to date. I think he got to top 4 positions. So yeah, he's very much climbed the order. Top of that mid-pack in 4th. Esteban in 5th. Sebastian Magato on 66. So he's only 3 points behind Debatch. Just another 2 points back is Simo. Was much higher up the standings. Unfortunately couldn't make it last week. Otherwise, I'm pretty sure he'd be up in 2nd or 3rd as we are here now. But yeah, down in 6th at the moment, so he'll have to catch up a little bit, claw back that gap. So it'll be a tall order to do that in the remaining 4 rounds, but we'll see what he can do. Martin Webb in 7th again, has had a couple of good weeks, got caught up a bit last week in other people's incidents, a bit unfortunate. but has been doing well. 53 points for him in 7th. We've got RWB Jagged in 8th on 46. Still pretty close in that mid-pack. As I said, 2 races a night. Plenty of points to pick up. Plenty of positions to be had. We have Paul Cole down in 9th. I don't believe he's with us here this evening. Yeah, but down in 9th. It's unfortunate because he had a good first week. Ronnie Thunder in 10th. Got in the bag, bud, in 11th. Mad Mike in 12th. Lega 13th, just ahead of Admiral Bushido in 14th. Take It Easy in 15th. And then DSRT Zvonimir down in 16th. Picking up his first points last week. So 2 10-minute qualifyings, nearly halfway through this first qualifying session, and Scott doing what Scott does best. At the top of the order, just ahead of Sean Simmons. Currently 3/10 behind, fighting ace. The Dutch driver, 3/4 of a second back at the moment, sitting in 3rd. So let's go on board in the cockpit camera a little bit. Always fun to watch these in that internal view. With the central driving position. This is mostly done for the car's balance and also for safety reasons. Makes you confident just how so how strong is the side of the car? We're going to put you in the middle. Oh, so not strong then. Got ya. Okay. At least I know. Let's just put him as far away from the edge of the car as possible. Yeah, makes it great fun to drive. Bit twitchy, like I said. It can still bite you. It's very easy to make a mistake on. Very easy to just push a little bit too hard, especially towards the end of 2 15-minute races. Those last 5 minutes, if you pushed too hard in the first 10 minutes, yeah, it very much comes back to bite you. So it's always very interesting to see how they manage that. Oh, you see Scott had improved his time up to 43.9. But Fighting Ace improves it himself, 44.272 now, so just over 3/10 back. So Scott, no, he's off to the side of the track, so he is back into the pits for now. We've got Sharpie with a, I think that's is that Martin Webb next to him? It is. So Martin Webb mixing it with Sharpie. Sharpie won't give him any racing on track. You know that's naughty. I'm sure Martin knows that. I think Simmons, is that behind? No, it's not. So who was that? That would have been Mad Mike. Yeah, so let's have a quick look. It's not that many cars, but they still find a way to be close to each other on track. Don't know how they manage that, but it always seems to happen. I've seen some fairly decent sized gaps as well on track. Despite you know, there's been some good strong drivers in this league. Scott is really driving superbly. I mean, as he always does, always very comfortable. Pretty much whatever you put him in, once he gets a little bit of practice, he's back in the groove now. After a little bit of time away from racing. So Mike up in 5th at the moment. Sharpie in 4th. Mike Webb having dropped back a little bit. Let's see if Sharpie improves on his time much. So coming down towards the line now. Hugging that left side of the track as much as he can. Oh yeah, he does improve, but only by about a 10th. So very little time gain. Mike Webb behind him, not closing that gap by much. Sean Simmons just improved his time as well, though. Look at that, just over 6/10 now off of the pole. But Scott still looking very strong. He's been superb so far in this championship. It's still 3/10 clear, so hasn't pulled that gap any further. Fighting Ace, nope, back into the pits just as I swapped to him. Nicely done. So the back should have someone, I think, is that someone who's just left the pits? I'm not sure. If it is, hopefully they move over, but looks like they weren't sure there. But again, Batch doing well. A 4th and a 2nd place last week. Drove superbly. Not a good week before that, 11th and 10th. So yeah, very changed fortunes last week. I mean, he's looking strong though in these cars, getting more comfortable with them. And yeah, if he can just mix it in and around the front of that mid pack, he'll pick up some good points. It's not going to be easy to live with Scott and Fighting Ace, and maybe Sean as well. You very much get a difference in, especially on AMS2, between those who can drive the car quite well, who can drive it pretty well, the ones who are just quick and then really quick and then really quick. You do find those gaps. It does have enough fidelity in the way it drives and the way it feels. And yeah, Scott is right up there, as he always seems to be. He always finds a way. The man's just got good ability. Can't take that away from him. And Mad Mike pushes it up just ahead of the batch. So we're into the last 30 seconds now. So much like Project Cars, wait for the checkered flag to come out, and if they'll be able to complete the lap they are on. So the batch will get one more go. Does he improve his lap time though? Needs just over 6/10 to gain a position, and he does not improve. So Mad Mike about to come over the line. I think that's Scott with him as well. Do either of them improve? I believe they do not. Let's go on board with... Let's go on board with Sharpie actually. I haven't gone on board with him for much with this qualifying. Most popping back to the pits now. So I think people are they're going to struggle to improve on that time that Scott has set there. You do have to say 1:43.971. Another one's got within 3/10 of him so far. So I'll be amazed if that suddenly happens now. Sharpie will do his best to change that. Simmons though, much closer to that lead time. Still 6.5 though. That's quite a chunky gap. I'm not sure he'll be able to do anything about this. It'll have to be one hell of an improvement. I'll have to find a lot of time that he's somehow not unlocked before. So, final part of the lap now. Did he push too hard there? The game might be okay with that. Let's find out. Sure, I'll be pushing here as well. There's no point not going for this. Might as well take some risks, make some mistakes. Go hard or go home. As I think Sharpie did improve. He's back to the pits now. So did Semo improve? It looks like he did not. So he'll stay in third spot. The other car with that livery on. Don't know which one of them is picking the wrong one. I'm pretty sure it's Mike. We'll check afterwards. It's coming up to the line now. Needs 3/10 to nick that position off of Sharpie. Did he though? Let's have a look. He did not. Did not close that gap at all. So, yeah, Scott there with a superb pole position. You can see he's so strong in that middle sector and middle sector and final sector. So it's over a good portion of the lap. He's clearly strong. 3/10 the gap back to Fighting Ace in second with Simo in third spot. Sharpie in fourth. Mad Mike up into fifth. Exterban in sixth, just ahead of the batch in the end in seventh. So it's going to be quite close in that mid pack. Jagged in eighth. In the Bagbud in ninth. Zvonimir 10th. The Lega in 11th. Martin Webber in 12th. And then Rolling Thunder down in 13th position. I haven't got a clue what you're on about, Leg. What the hell does that mean? You're going to have to explain that one to me because I haven't got the foggiest what you're on about. But yeah, it's be interesting to see how they handle this going into the race. So we're getting into the race very shortly. And then we'll see how they handle this circuit. 1:45, so decent length of the lap. It's not exactly the shortest. Hey, I still don't have a clue what the deal you're on about. Not for the first time either. Yes, not got a clue what you're on about, Leg. Right, good luck, man. Keep it out of the grass. So, I love that camera shot. So how can we get a better... Oh, weird, I can choose the lighting, it seems. No, never mind. We'll go with this view then, I suppose. Oh, hello. Does it change at all? No, it's just lighting. So we'll stay with this camera then, it would appear. Up to 2 minutes to get ready. If they need to, quickly get a drink, quickly go for a quick toilet break, maybe before the race. There we go, everyone in. 3 red lights are all up. Oh, and that looked like a jump start again. We've seen a couple of those last week, so I wouldn't be surprised if we see more again here this week. So Simmons, two number 99 cars, so a little touch on the other 99 car. So who was that? I think that would have been Mike. If I can find him. A little bit of door rubbing going on. So was it Mad Mike? I think it was. Who's dropped a little bit further back. Scott holds on to the lead. Breakaway by 7 tenths already after just a couple of corners. Fighting Ace, look crikey, that's still a long old queue of cars. The Batcher's dropped to the back though, so he's had a bit of a nightmare early on. According to the game. Well, I can't go to him because he's in 13th. And the game doesn't let you select 13th. Fun bug, but yeah, I don't mind it. It's not the most earth-shattering issue. Oh, Mike having another issue. So decent qualifying, but it's gone very wrong for him at the start of this race. It looks like, because that, who else was that? Was that Lega? I'm not sure. No, couldn't select the car I wanted to go to there. But there was another car off at the back. I think it might have been Jagged, but can't select him, unfortunately. So that gap's still 3/4 of a second. Let's have a quick look on the timings. Does it tell us if anyone's got a penalty? It doesn't. Did definitely look like someone got a drive through though, so we'll have to see if someone does take a penalty. It did look a little bit suspicious. So coming towards the end of the first lap. Fighting Ace trying to close that gap to Scott, but Scott's made a good break for it over the first minute and a half or so. He's got a good second lead now, just over 1 second lead, up towards the 1.1 seconds. Fighting Ace got all the speed, but he's going to need the consistency as well. And Scott's not one to make many mistakes. You can see that car can't really give you any more revs. That is what it's got. See Simmons right in behind with Sharpie as well. Sharpie right on Simmons' tail. So those three, second, third and fourth, very close at the moment on the road. Very little gap between them. And a bit of a space between them and the next car on the road. Being Esteban, Mr. Magato. Back in 5th. You can see Martin Webb a little bit further back. So we're seeing a few drivers having a few issues. So I think Lega's had a bit of a problem in the Bagbad. Oh, is apparently a pickup truck. No, I don't know either. So his car is somewhere over here. Oh, okay. Well, that's a predicament, isn't it? I mean, yeah, fair play. He's got a good reason for. So he is over there. Not sure how he's managed that. Look forward to asking him after the race. Let's get back to the racing. Good lord, don't know how he's done that. That's a hell of a crash, nonetheless. So Scott's still holding on to that 1 second lead. See Simo all over the back of Fighting Ace though. And Sharpie just trying to follow along. Wait for an opportunity to bounce. A little bit further back we've got Zvonimir in 7th. Just behind Martin Webb. There we are. Webb in the purple and white car. And so about 1.2, 1.3 second lead. He's got the Batch and Rolling Thunder not far behind them. Oh, saying that. Oh, Martin Webb goes round. And they'll have to sit there, let the others get past. They'll have to spin it round. Loads of space on the grass to get around. Normally the problem is it keeps spinning. So massive bummer, but yeah, easily done in these cars. Like I said, it's quite common you'll see people making those mistakes on their own half the time. Whether some of the incidents earlier on were caused by other cars, we will see. They'll get looked at as always. So that gap is not getting any bigger. Scott is not pulling away by any further. And Fighting Ace does not want to give up that second position. Simo, is he going to go down the inside? He is. Makes that move. Fighting Ace is going to have to cede the position. We'll have to slot in third. It goes a little bit wide. Won't take a slow down though. The game we've got up to 10 off tracks allowed. A bit like iRacing with their incident system. This game you can choose how many of those you get. So there's a limit of 10 for these races. I believe that may have been reduced, but yeah. Obviously anyone who abused it would go back and we could penalise manually anyways. So no one will abuse it. So Scott still holding on to that lead. Second from Simo. Fighting Ace. with Sharpie just behind him. Esteban still doing well, not far off the pace, but not quite lapping at the same speed. His time's just a bit far off for him to be able to catch up. Zvonimir on his own now. Martin Webb having that spin earlier on, now down into 11th, so lost a whole heap of time there. Debach in 7th. So still on for some half decent points. Ronnie Thunder not far behind now. He's pushed on nicely so far in this championship. Now I did see, but in the Bud, I never know what to call it. I did go to your car briefly, and you were behind a pickup truck. Do explain. I'd love to know how you got there. We've got Jagged with Lega closely in behind, fighting for 9th and 10th. Lega using all of that curb. Might move a little bit further back. And then Mad Mike, unfortunately, we know had the issues early on. Can't seem to pick him. Oh, there we go. So we're still going. Still getting this thing round. As I said, good qualifying. It's a shame it hasn't gone quite his way in the race. It's a bit of a pity. But that's how those things go sometimes, unfortunately. So that lead not getting any larger. So 6 minutes into the race, still 9 to go. Yes, I was wondering whether there was a bit of contact. But yes, by all means report it though, dude, as you know. Pretty hard to, with no replays and stuff, it's a bit of a nightmare. But the cameras on here aren't perfect. Yeah, they're not the best, but yeah, so you hear metal being bent, but you don't quite know where. But yeah, by all means, chuck that as an instant in, and yes. Definitely heard stuff, I just didn't see it, unfortunately. So again, that lead not really growing. Simo's still setting the lap times on a very similar amount. Vulcan disconnected due to collisions. Oof. Yeah, that's right, I don't think you could have carried on from there. Anyways, it looked like you were behind the barrier. I mean, that's what it looked like, but I don't know whether you were, but yeah, bummer either way, man. So top 4 still fairly closely knit, just over 3 seconds between the 4 of them. Sharpie just off the back at the moment in 4, Fighting Ace in 3rd. Simo driving nicely after nabbing that 2nd spot slightly earlier on. And then, as I said, Esteban driving around on his own. No one really anywhere near him. No, I mean, you can save the replay afterwards, Bud. I don't know if you've left. I don't know whether you can. I can chuck the replay file your way. I might be able to if the game does that. But you can save the replay like Project Cars, you know, like that. It's up to you, man. So that lead has come down a little bit. So it's up to about half a second there, but that might be the concertina effect when they one's braking a bit earlier. Scott getting to the corner first, obviously. So this is the view from Simo's car. So yeah, Scott's still very much in his grasp, not too far away. But it's a bit disconcerting when you know the driver in front really doesn't make any mistakes. So he will know 100% that he needs to be driving about as perfectly as you can. Because Simo, if he makes any mistakes, he's not got hope in hell of catching up to Scott. He'll be able to drive nearly perfectly himself. These guys at the front are driving superbly. And very hard to live with at that pace. But the rest are doing what they can. You can see Fighting Ace just dropped back a little bit now, about 1.4 seconds from from Simo. And then Sharpie about another 1.2 back from him. That's back to Jagged. So we've got a bit of a cluster of cars further back. Jagged and Debach and Leggers at Debach down into 8th now. Jagged up to 7th. Ronnie Fundo in 6th. I think you have to click it. If you want it, I can see if I can send it. If I get to save mine afterwards. Up to you, mate. Just let me know. I don't mind doing that, if technically I can. And we've got Martin Webb, the other purple car, having a fight with Mr. Zvonimir here. in the red car going around the long way around, but gets him the inside on the left-hander. Takes the apex nicely. So he pops up into 10th, Martin down to 11th. Mad Mark a few seconds further back still. Oh, somehow he's pushing here. 44.1 on the last lap, so nearly caught up 2/10 to the leader. So he is pushing now. He knows he's only got a few more laps to really have a go here. So they are pulling away a little bit from Fighting Ace and Sharpie, who are... no, it's up to you. It depends on what it was. It depends if it was just an unlucky incident or if it was a bit of absolutely trash driving. Then obviously we want people to not be doing the stupid driving. But I mean, well, I'm sure we'll catch it at some point if we go but have a look at the replays ourselves. But yeah, it's up to you. Up to you, dude. Yeah, so Simo is not mucking about here. He is driven like... probably, let's just go pick your own rude word there. 144.6 on the last lap from Scott, so a poor lap by his numbers. A great lap from Simo, 144.111. So yeah, you can see the gap has now come down to just that few tenths. So he's talking about very much in that slipstream stroke dirt. Yeah, you've got to be careful here, just to be close enough and not cause you any issues. Not sure how much of that you would get off these cars anyways. Only weigh about a tonne, so they're not the most planted of cars. Thus, well, they are a little bit sketchy. Just back gets on the brakes early enough. And this is definitely a two-way fight for the win. Simo wants to take this to Scott. So this is when we have to look out for mistakes. This is when one or the other could make a boo-boo. When they're pushing this hard, when one's trying to defend and one's just trying to go all out for the win here. I do love that camera shot coming through that long sweeping left right towards the end of the lap. Famous few corners we've all seen, any of us that have watched F1. Good amount in our time. And look at this, Simo is all over the back of him. So we have 2 more laps remaining. Simo going the long way around, trying to just straighten that line as much as possible. Yeah, he is right up to the back of Scott now, so we are very much looking to defend in attack territory. Fighting Ace and Sharpie in the background, 3rd and 4th. See who gets that podium spot. Yep, Scott now having to go on the defensive, going for that slightly inside line. Goes a bit wide though, and it's just a tap there. I think it's just a little touch on the corner. Oh, it's unlucky. I don't think he's turned in on him at all there. I think that's just a bit unlucky. Scott hopefully has got going again. He had. But I didn't look anything untoward there. Just as something we've seen, I think, last week, where that certain type of contact on the corner can one of the cars just sort of pop straight off. But yeah, from my instincts, to be honest, that didn't look like much wrong. Just a bit unlucky, a bit unfortunate. But we'll see. We'll see afterwards. So this lead fight now at Simo at the front really should have this race wrapped up. It should be on Fighting Ace and Sharpie, 2nd and 3rd, for who can finish in 2nd spot. So just 1 more lap after this to go. Sharpie about 3 seconds off the lead. Scott now a couple of seconds further back, so he's unlikely to be able to close these guys down, which is unlucky. We had a similar issue last week, or the week before, I can't quite remember, where I think he had a similar touch with Sharpie and it sent him off. It's a bit unlucky on his part. Esteban in 5th, so driving a nice solid race again. Hasn't quite got the pace of those guys up front, but not many have, so still doing well to keep clear of that mid-pack. Running Thunder just ahead of the batch, with Jagged just behind them as well, so still 3 of them pretty close, 6th, 7th and 8th, coming on to their final lap. Zvonimir still just ahead of Martin Webb. Not quite close to make Zvonimir get defensive yet. Needs to try and close that gap up a little bit. Lega just behind him as well. And Mad Mike not too far back. So if he drives a solid last lap, might have a chance of closing that gap up just a little bit. So there's the gap for Simo. See Scott at the back of the picture there, unfortunate. So on their final lap now, so we're just going to have to keep this consistent, keep it tidy, not make any silly errors. Just taking these corners nice. It'll be interesting to see what his lap time is on this final lap. It will not be pushing too hard, I can guarantee you that. Sharpie will want a piece of fighting ace though. It's been close to him for a lot of the race, and he'll want to have a final go. I don't want to just be stuck behind him for the rest of the lap, but that might be how it goes. Scott in fourth, just see him there in picture. So pushing as hard as he can towards the end of the race. So I think this is how they will finish. Great drive from Simo. Said unlucky with that fight with Scott, looking to be very, very close. And yeah, it's a bit unlucky, but that is the way the cookie crumbled in the end. And Simo takes the win. Well done, Simo. Great drive. Comes over the line. Well done. Fighting Ace will hold on to second. Sharpie not quite able to take that position back. Sharpie getting third. Scott into fourth and does not drive that thing for any length of time longer than he needs to. Extraman now coming down to the line. Another solid result for him. He finishes in fifth. Batch a little bit further back, so just coming over the hill now, down towards the line. So not a bad finish from him. We'll pick up some more decent points. Well done, Batch. Comes over the line now for sixth spot. Jagged will take seventh, just ahead of Zvonimir. See him coming down towards the line there. And then, oh, it's very close on the line between three of them. Who's going to finish that? So that was Lega, Thunder and Martin Webb. That was superb. Who got that spot? That was further back, but hey, all the points matter. So who got that? That was, oh, there we are. That was Zvonimir. That was Lega who just, I mean, look at the gap there. Talking 63 thousandths of a second between them. So that was Lega in ninth. Rolling Thunder in 10th. Martin Webb in 11th. And then Mad Mike, unfortunately, finishing down in 12th. Not the race he was hoping for. And who got the fastest lap? It is a 44.111 from Simo. Sharpie having a very similar lap time. So did Extrabat. No, sorry, that was a 46. Yeah, Sharpie's 44.149. Not far off, but Simo's 144. 111 takes the point for fastest lap. Yeah, that looks fun, man. That looked like I just only got two guys coming around the fast corner. I was like, oh crikey, that's close. So yeah, that looked pretty entertaining. But yeah, all good points, all add up. Don't want to take for granted, even though the place is slightly further back. So we'll definitely make it more interesting in the points. We'll have a look at those the table as it stands shortly. We'll get going into race number 2 in just a second. I wonder if the game will do what it did to me last week and it will chuck my car on track. I'm expecting it to. I think that's just a bug the game has at the moment, but I'm sure that will be sorted out nice and quickly. Lovely stuff. So, about to start, so now I'm ready. And yeah, we can get straight into race number 2. Oh, it's got a race director again, so maybe that did. Oh. Maybe that'll sort it out, because it said I had a race director last week, so maybe he's had to reassign it. Let's find out. You never know. Maybe we're sorting that bug. But yeah, some nice racing at the end there. Some very close stuff at the further back. And look at that, all of them nice and ready. Lovely stuff. So, race number 2. Same again. 10-minute qualifying, 15-minute race. Hopefully some nice close racing again with less spinning. Fingers crossed, and definitely less crashing at the start. But we will see. So yeah, it's good. It hasn't put me on track. So lovely. Hopefully we sorted that out then. So wait a second and then we'll go on board with them as they leave the pits. As you can see, all flocking out of the pits, straight out onto track. I'm sure they'll all give each other lovely amounts of room, loads of space. He says tongue very firmly in cheek. So yeah, you can see winner of race 1. Slightly further back in the queue. You think they'd work out between them not to have too many duplicate liveries, but hey ho. Get them to sort that out for next week. I mean, this picture proves that they definitely are. So, again, all a bit close to each other. Why they don't just give each other a little bit more space so they don't even have to think about other cars, I don't know. Everyone's eager to just put their foot down and launch it, but a little bit of patience. Not always a bad thing. Checkered sat in the pits at the moment, but everyone else out on circuit. A bit of a Monza queue going on. Same Monza, F1 cars do it everywhere, really, don't they? So we'll see lap times coming in another couple of minutes. They'll be all just starting their hot laps now. On board with Simo, looks like he's made himself a little bit of room. So they have stretched out a little bit, which is good to see. We often find everybody getting a little bit too close, so just try again, like I said earlier, just trying to go hell for leather straight away, rather than giving each other a little bit of room. But yeah, clearly they have done, so that's good. On board with Simo for the rest of his lap, so a little bit of a train of cars further up the field, and I think that is Mad Mike just in behind. So we're just coming around towards the end of their first hot laps now. Will we see times anywhere near what they did in quali for the first race? I don't think they'll be doing that straight away. So let's see, time's starting to come in now. Zvonimir, 46.3. So 43.9 was the pole on the last race by Scott. So that would be the time to look out for in and around that time. 44.087, that's a great first lap. So yeah, still within a tenth of his pole from last race straight away. So that's competitive from the off. You can see there, Simo fighting Ace and Sharpie, all putting very representative times in straight off the bat. Very impressive. Simo is coming in. He will have get a new pair of shoes and get out for another go. Bit of a gap between Sharpie and the rest. Mad Mike leading the mid pack, in fifth on a 46.2 at the moment. Obviously a longer circuit, so yeah, any gap, any difference in speed and ability is going to be slightly magnified with the longer circuit in the slower car. Despite them not being the quickest things, they are not the easiest to drive, like I say. I've seen some very, very good drivers in these making mistakes. Don't quite know how that got on track, but it's not there anymore. Let's see what time Scott sets. Does he improve here? 44.087. Doesn't pop it into the 43s as of yet. So what can Simo do? Can he close that gap? Fighting Ace in the pit. Sharpie's still out on track. Let's go on board with Sharpie. Just coming around towards the line now. 44.7 at 9.2. His current best time. 7/10 from the lead. And yeah, does not close that gap as of yet. I think Simo is on an out lap, I think. Again, we'll find out fairly shortly. So 4/10 is his lead at the moment. Does that come down at all? Does he close the gap? Does Simo get any closer? He does not. So it looks like Scott again might have set a time that just can't be beaten by the others. Let's go on board with the batch. One of the few drivers not in a duplicate livery. A bit of understeer there, a bit of overspeeding into the corner, but gets it round nicely, doesn't miss the apex by much. Comes around that long sweep in left, using all of the circuit. Using that curb runoff on the outside. And just a couple more corners to go. So a couple of tenths we'll see him move in front of Mad Mike, who's moved up into 5th. 45.821 from Mike. Very nice lap that is too. Let's see what he does. So he comes over the line now. 45.992 is previous best, and it does not improve. So Mad Mike and a few others about to come over the line. Mad Mike does improve by about 3/10 there. Mark Webber just behind him. Does not improve. Sharpie just in behind him. And, I think Sharpie might be done. Yeah, I think that will be him done for quali. Unless he gets out of the traps again very quickly. That'll be some to him. So it looks like Scott, cheeky little so-and-so, trying to get a toe off of the geezer that's trying to beat him in quali. I'd almost out of spite just move over, but I'm sure someone might be on a decent lap. But sometimes you find that situation working out for you, sometimes that's just the way it goes. But neither of them improve. So it didn't help that much, clearly. So they'll have one more go. Sharpie he's coming out again. I mean, hopeful. I don't think he's going to get round, but it's going to be close. I don't think it takes 15 seconds to get there, but hey, a little bit more track time will not harm him in the slightest. Dispatching 6th, Legger into the pits, as well as Indibag Bud and Rolling Thunder. They are done. They are sat ready and waiting for the race now. Thanks very much for the follow, Vag Motorsport. I believe I can't quite see that on my screen, too small. Yes, it is 23. There you go. I got the whole of the username. Thank you very much for the follow, much appreciated. So again, the batch in 6th, just trying to close that gap up to Mad Mike. Currently in 5th on a 45.517, so a good nearly half a second between the two of them. Struggling to get up to him, so Scott still trying to show everyone else the way, and it's all getting very close in quali. Is that Mike Webb on the outside? I think it is. So he's moved over a little bit, I think, to let Simo past. Fair play to him. I don't think it's costing him too much. So Mike Webb will know whether he was much up on a lap or on his lap at all. And they were all done for quali. And look at that, Scott, a 43.916. What a cracking final lap that is. Don't see anyone getting anywhere near that. So very similar to his pole time from the previous race. Actually slightly better, about half a tenth better. So quickest lap of the evening for him, I think. So he'll be very happy with that. Simo is done as well. Yeah, he was part of that group. Fighting Ace still out on circuit though. Pushing it as hard as he can in his last chance saloon. 44.517 currently his best time. needs to improve by about a quarter of a second to jump Simo up in second, and then 6/10 to get up into the lead, get up into that pole position, which is going to be a bit of an ask. Hasn't done that sort of lap time this evening, so that would be a bit of a bolt out of the blue, but he can only try. So we know he's got good pace. Last couple of corners now. Most of the drivers now retiring back to the pits. They're done. They've all done their final attempts round this beautiful circuit. I wouldn't mind leg A. Where it comes from is where it comes from. Take whatever comes your way, man. It's a good lap. Now it's got to try and keep it clean at the start of the race. That's going to be the difficult bit. So does Fighting Ace improve? He does. Does well, about 3/4 of a tenth nearly. But nowhere near enough to gain any more spots. I think Jagged's still out on circuit as well. I think Scott just behind him, but I don't think he'd. I don't think either of them would actually run a hot lap. So there we go. Scott with a 1:43.916, taking another superb pole position. So he's pretty hard to deal with in the hot lap format in these cars, and fair play to him. That's just hard to live with. Simo not doing too badly himself, 44.288, though in second position. Fighting Ace in third, Sharpie in fourth. Those four very much the quick guys here. Hard to for the rest to catch. Mad Mike in fifth, just ahead of Debatch in sixth, with Lega in seventh. We've got Zvonimir just behind him in the times in eighth. Extaban as well, not far back in ninth. There's only a few tenths between those three. In the Bagbud in 10th, with Jagged in 11th, Martin Webb in 12th, and then Rolling Thunder rounding out the 13 drivers at the rear of the grid. So yes, another 15-minute race. Hopefully nice and clean at the start, and then they can force their way on from there. But yeah, there has been a few. They're not the easiest car to drive, so they're going to make mistakes, and when you're making mistakes around other cars, sometimes you'll have a bit of metal on metal that they're hoping not to do. So yeah, fingers crossed it'll be nice and clean for the start of the race, and we will get going in just a couple of seconds. There we go, they are all on to the grid. Turn that off, there we go. So Scott front and centre, right in front of camera there. Unfortunately can't change the camera, so we'll live with this at the start. And it all should be readied up nice and shortly. There we go, so everyone is here all and well. Hopefully we'll get a nice clean start to this race. Yeah, always looks like Mad Mike gets a great start yet again. Back from fifth, so how clean or dirty will it be down to turn one? Hopefully it'll be a bit cleaner than we saw in the first race, or at least what I heard in the first race. Oh, it looks like was there a little spin in front there. I heard a bit of car on car, but hopefully everyone got round. If Martin Webb not having the greatest start, he rejoins and gets back off the grass, so he's lost a couple of positions there. So Scott leading them down. Still a couple of tenths ahead of Simo. Fighting Ace, Sharpie, Mad Mike. We've got Lega up into 6th now. Zvonimir 7th, Debatch in 8th, in the Bagbud 9th, Extaban 10th, Martin Webb in 11th, Rolling Thunder in 12th, and then Jagged in 13th, halfway round the first lap. So it'll be all about how these front four, if they can break away from the group, as they seem to usually, and then how close they stay to each other. It was pretty competitive all the way through towards the very end of that first race. It was just that unlucky turnaround when Scott and Simo's cars just slightly touched. But again, it is Simo's job to keep tabs on Scott. They're all going to be very, very close. Already about 8 tenths between Mad Mike and Sharpie. And you can see Lega just in behind the orange and black car of Mad Mike. Lega with Zvonimir on his tail. Debatch as well. Debatch just behind. He's got himself a decent half a second or so gap back to in the Bagbud, in the Extaban back in 10th spot at the moment. So these front four Still close, a little bit stretched out. Sharpie a few tenths back. Not a fighting ace, but still plenty of time to go. Still 13 minutes, as you can see. Those front three very close, front nearly nose to bumper, but Sharpie just a few tenths back, but he won't mind. These guys in front are going to hamper each other a little bit. So we're trying to go the long way round. At least once it gets alongside Scott, at least become part of that equation. This just going to let Sharpie close up very quickly, though. Look at that, they hampered each other quite severely there, and Sharpie has gone from about 1.2 seconds back. A little bit of door on door again between Fighting Ace and Simo. They work it out cleanly. Sharpie going down the inside of Fighting Ace. Forceful move there. Saw a gap then, put his nose in it, which is fair enough. Got to go for moves. Fighting Ace holding off nicely. See Mad Mike. These guys fighting. It's letting him hang on to them. Not being cut adrift by any means yet. Zvonimir not far back either. Leg has dropped back a couple of positions, just behind the batch and Lega. But it's all pretty close at the end of lap number 2, do you have to say. Top 7 still within, or top 8 still within 4 and a bit seconds. Not too bad in these. But top guys still setting some unbelievable pace. Simo in second spot. Sandwich between Fighting Ace in third and Scott ahead of him leading the race coming out onto lap number 3. Scott a little bit defensive. Simo will try and go the long way around yet again. Does have to be careful though. Compromises positioning too much, and then he'll have Sharpie and Fighting Ace trying to get past him. Could end up in 4th out of nowhere. Well, the front 4 yet again making a great fight of it. Oh, it's so close. Fighting Ace getting let back on track nicely there. So you can see that there's not too many gaps really being stretched out as of yet. It's a little bit wiggly on the brakes. There's a little touch again as we saw, but worked their way out nice and safely. And now Scott to hold that lead still. Looked like he might have a bit of a battle on his hands to keep Simo behind, but Simo's been fended off for now. 4 tenths back. He's now got his own fight with Fighting Ace and Sharpie behind him. They are not going anywhere. Well, Mad Mike, he's had a bit of an issue, and off he goes. He's onto the grass. Rejoins nice and safely, I think. It's hard to tell from that camera angle. Or does it? The car come around him on the outside though, so yeah, it could have been cleaner, but it could have been worse. Jagged at the back, unfortunately, has had his own issues, it would appear. But now mid-pack still nice and close. To batch up in 6th, as I say, close. Have clicked on the only person who's miles away from anyone else. He's the second from the car in front and the car behind. Lega behind him in 7th. There's Vladimir in the next car in front of him there, as you can see, in 5th position. And they're a couple of seconds off that front group who are still going hell for leather. On to Sharpie. So within a second of the lead still. Good lord, that group looks like it's getting close. Oh, another little bit of a touch on the wall. Don't know if someone got squeezed there. I think there might have been a bit of a just about missed it through that camera swap, but I think Fighting Ace maybe just getting a little bit squashed between the wall. The car alongside didn't quite realise what the gap was there, but so nothing malicious, I'm sure. So that's dropped them down a little bit, just a couple of tenths, not by too much though. Fair play to the rest behind them as well. Zvonimir, the back, so they're all hanging on pretty nicely, setting some cracking lap times in the early 46s. They're good lap times still. These guys are setting 45s at the moment, as they're hampering each other by a good second due to their fighting rather than just doing what the sort of times they were doing in qualifying. Fighting Ace maybe. I'm going to look down the inside, at least looking like he might have a go. Didn't go for it though. Sharpie holding on to 3rd. Fighting Ace not quite going for a move as of yet. Simo still hugging those apexes nicely. Scott in right in front. Still nothing to choose between these drivers, still so close. Scott driving superbly as he has done all championship. Another game and another car he's taken to like a duck to water. Drivers like that make you pretty jealous. But hey, what can you do? These front 4 putting on a great battle. So great to be watching the race around a classic circuit like Interlagos as well. Another one of the superb tracks that Automobilista 2 has. It's bringing some GT3 and GT4 cars this month, end of this month's DLC. That's those cars are free, and I think it's bringing the Nordschleife, the Nürburgring and all its layouts. I think that's paid DLC, but won't be much. Well worth it if you're a Nordschleife fan. Scott again taking that inside line. Simo has to look the long way round. Scott making sure he does not give Simo that line to try and get past. What that does allow though is the cars behind to start making a fight of it. And all of a sudden Simo might find himself down in fourth very, very quickly. Fighting Ace right in behind Sharpie. Simo having to take that slightly wider line. And Fighting Ace because car doing a little bit of a wobble there. Not quite sure what's going on. Nearly went 3 wide in behind. Sharpie looking like he's on for a move up in 2 seconds. Simo's going to try and go the long way around as I take a bit of the run off. Try and make sure there's enough room for all of the cars alongside him. I think he might just hold on to second. Sharpie on his left though. So we'll have to go the long way round. We'll try and hang it all the way round. The long sweeping right. But Fighting Ace is going to look for the move on Sharpie if he's not too careful. A little bit of a nudge on the rear corner. But Sharpie just fends him off, keeps him behind. Still not too much between these. Still only 1.4 seconds between all 4 of them. Let's go on board actually. Again, cockpit view. Always good to see. So you can see here. Sharpie's car right in front. Simo's just up ahead. And Scott a little bit further up in the distance. Ped13R. Not quite sure how to pronounce that. But yeah, thank you very much for the follow. Much appreciated. So great driving from these 4. Still 6.5 minutes to go as well. So plenty of time to just settle back in and then have another charge of it at the end. It's very easy to ruin the tyres here and just getting burning hot, and then you're going to be sliding around like there's no one's business. You do need to manage that end of the race. Let's go quickly on to the other drivers. Vonnegut driving a good race back in 5th spot, keeping the batch at bay here. About 1.2 seconds between the 2 of them. But on for some more good mid-pack points in the bag, bud. Obviously, DNF from race number 1, unfortunately. Still going strong in race number 2 in 7th position. We have Exterban in 8th. Again, more points for him. Jagged has moved up a few positions now, up into 9th. Kept going strong after his early issues, and fair play. He's got past Lega down into 10th now. Mad Mike as well in 11th. We saw his spin earlier on. Rolling Thunder in 12th, and then just behind him I can't watch Martin Webb because the game doesn't know to click on 13th still. So these front 4 again. Scott leading the way, 1/4 second lead. Coming to the final 5 minutes of the race, set a 45 flat on the last lap. So again, these guys normally setting in the Scots in the flat 44, and the rest probably 2 or 3 tenths behind. So they are driving a good second, 1.2 seconds slower than you would see when they were hot lapping. But it's been cracking fighting so far. The front 2 made a little bit of a gap back to Simo and Fighting Ace. So Simo now has got Dutchman behind him. He's sort of try and fend him off, but also wants to close the gap to the front 2. Will Fighting Ace maybe go gentle on him to try and not... I mean, you know, Fighting Ace is going to want to catch the front 2 as well. So I wonder if there'll be any strategy in it. Whether he'll think, do you know what, I don't want to fight Simo too hard here. I want us to both catch the front guys. And they'll obviously be hoping to see Sharpie and Scott battling out just in front. There is still no time between them though. Sharpie going the long way around there. Scott not having the greatest first corner. Sharpie giving him enough from there. Slots back in behind. Simo cut the corner a little bit there. I think he's a bit wary of going right there and clipping Sharpie, so fair enough. Can't say fair in that. Simo on the right hand side of the screen there. Fighting Ace moving across. So are they going to go 3 wide? Are they all going to have a look up the inside of each other? Fighting Ace goes up the inside of Sharpie though. Coming down into the left-hander. Sharpie will give him the room. I think he will slow in. So that's a good move by Fighting Ace. So he's back up into second. So very quickly, like I said, he was in 4th very recently. Now up into 2nd spot. So now Sharpie fighting with Simo. Simo going very wide though. So hung out to dry a little bit. So that's cost him a few tenths. But again, the guys in front of him are all fighting. So will not have lost him that much time. He'll be back on the rear of them very, very shortly. So Fighting Ace, the lead right in front of him. Scott doing what Scott does. So being unlucky to not have even more points really in this championship so far. But all four of these guys driving absolutely superbly. The mid-pack guys doing very well as well, just not quite able to live with the pace of these chaps up front. So 3 minutes to go now, so we'll have a couple more laps. So heading round now to start their penultimate lap of the evening. Been some great racing from all four of these. It's been superb to watch. So we've got Zvonimir and the batch slightly further back. You can see 5th and 6th now, and quite a large gap back to Esteban and the rest. You've got in the bag Bud and Jagged quite close in behind as well, so still some good fighting going on. Mad Mike and Lega fighting in 10th and 11th spot. So some good battles going all throughout. Lega nailing that last corner again. Looks like he's going to take Mad Mike. So Mad Mike into 11th. Let's go back up front though. So Sharpie in 3rd. Really could you can pick any of these four to watch. They're all going to be in the same camera shot, pretty certainly. So Fighting Ace looking around the outside. Scott making sure he takes that inside line. Sharpie slotting it in still, taking his time. Some are going quite wide, but that'll give him a nice line out. He'll be able to keep his foot down there. Try to elongate as much as possible, using the runoffs that are there to be used. Again, Fighting Ace will look up the inside. Sharpie will be hung out to dry a little bit. Simo will close that gap again. Okay, none of them really making many mistakes at the moment. Still very close. 1.5 laps to go. So will any of them push harder here to try and maybe make a move, or are they going to be happy to try and finish nice and close and keep it clean? Obviously, hopefully it'll be both. Hopefully it'll be competitive, close and clean. But yeah, they'll always start to take risks in the last lap or two that maybe you wouldn't take earlier in the race, because you know that the end of the race is all but in front of you. So Sharpie maybe looking up the inside of Fighting Ace a little bit. Fighting Ace gives him the room. Just about. A little bit of grass there. Fighting Ace is going to leave him a little bit more space. Just about makes it without driving face first into the wall there. So start of the final lap of the final race, sorry. So they come over the line now. Scott with a 3/4 of a second lead, the longest lead he's had, I think, in this whole race. Those guys behind him all fighting. Sharpie having to look up the inside, little touch inside of Simo. Simo will have the inside line though for the right-hander, and then Sharpie, if he can keep it alongside, should have the inside line again for the left-hand exit from those S's. So again, good driving from all of them, but a little bit stretched out now. Fighting Ace looking fairly comfortable in second. Does have to be careful though. If he catches Scott and starts fighting, these guys behind him will close that gap up yet again. Sharpie wanting that podium spot. Goes out a bit wide, though, makes the mistake. Just went a bit long on the brakes there, it looked like. And yeah, drifts it out wide and unfortunately drops it back into 4th. Look at the front though. Fighting Ace. Just 1.5 tenths back from Scott. So the timer hit 0, so checker flag will be out next time they come round to the line. So will Scott make any mistakes? Fighting Ace pushing it a little bit too hard, like I said. Oh, and look at that. So Sharpie, I think he's either had a bit wiggle himself, or I think Fighting Ace maybe turned a little bit left there just as he was coming back on. Oh, and Sharpie, that has spun. So he should get going again without losing any further positions unless Zvonimir comes around very, very quickly. So we will get close, but I don't think it will quite happen. I think actually it looks like. No, so Simo got spun and Sharpie. So Sharpie, I think, feels like he's at fault there. He's going to let Simo pass. He's going to lose multiple positions though, because Zvonimir and Debatch are there. So quite how he's going to give enough positions away there to not lose more. I don't think he will, but fair play if he feels that's his fault. It was hard to see from that side on camera angle. But they produced some such great racing. You know, we're all human, people make mistakes, so fair play. It's good race conduct from all of them though. Scott, another superb drive, takes the win. Well done, Scott. Fighting Ace. Solid drive from him in second, and Sean Simmons will come home in third. And that does look like actually Sharpie will be able to take that 4th spot still, or will he take third? And he actually takes Sean Simmons in the final couple of corners, so takes that podium spot in the end. Simmons taking 4th spot, but good driving from them all nonetheless. Debatch in 5th, Zvonimir in 6th. Esteban taking 7th spot, just ahead of In the Bag Bud. Had Mad Mike coming home just ahead of Jagged. Rolling Thunder a little bit further back, coming round the final corner now. Coming towards the line, but nice and slowly, not in a rush. So let's get some of those times put in, so we can look at the leaderboard in a couple of minutes. But yeah, some good racing. I do have to say, there's going to be the odd thing here. It happened here and there. They're racing that closely and that cleanly for that long. Eventually, they want to make a move, and if you're going to make a mistake, it's likely to happen towards the end. But it was some cracking racing to watch. You'd have to say that. So who DNF there? Was it not Rolling Thunder? It was. Let's have a look. So Rolling Thunder came 10th. We had Lega in 11th, and then we had Martin Webb in 12th. So who did we lose? Who did we lose? Yeah, it sounds like it's easy to do in these. Very easy to do. In the bag, but finished. I might have finished. Who didn't finish? We were 13 at the start, didn't we? Any help? Zvonimir was there. One of Thunder's there. Jagged finished. Fighting Ace finished. Can't work that out. Weird. I think I'm blind. Who got the fastest lap? Let's have a quick look at that while we're here. So 44,679 from Sharpie, I believe. Yep, 44,679. 144,679 for Mr. Average Sharpie. Nothing average about that. Very good lap. Well done, sir. And yeah, some cracking racing. I'm not quite sure who DNF'd in that race. Is it Esteban? Oh, I think it is. It was Esteban. Okay, so that's a shame. So we'll put that in as well, just to make sure that is taken down. So there we go. All the points put in, and we can have a quick look now at the standings after tonight's 2 races. So there we go. Scott holding a healthy lead here, 194, 18 points clear of Fighting Ace in second. On 176, Average Sharpie, 162, 32 points off of the top. But yeah, not too far when there's 2 races every evening. Simo down in 4th on 124. The Batch, again, another good night for him at 108, 86 points back in 5th. Esteban in 6th, unfortunate DNF at the end, otherwise he may be a little bit further up. I have Jagged in 7th, Martin Webb in 8th spot, Rolling Thunder 9th. In the bag, Bud in 10th, Paul Cole in 11th, Mad Mike in 12th on 39. We had Zvonimir just a point back in 13th, Lega in 14th position, and then Admiral Bushido. And Take It Easy rounding out the table in 15th and 16th. So yeah, some cracking racing tonight. Very close. Obviously we saw a few bits and bobs happening that you hope didn't happen, weren't going to happen, but that is the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. Nothing malicious going on for sure. Just the way it is when that close cars like that are being driven that quickly and that closely to each other. Mistakes get made. So yeah, that was round number 3 of our sprint race series here on Automobilista 2. Next week we are at Jerez. We're at its chicane layout for round number 4. So do join me then. Quite a lot of streaming though the rest of this week. I will be back with you tomorrow with some touring car action. Season number 6 on Project Cars 2 on Xbox. So that will be here tomorrow evening. So do join me then for 3 races. Same Xbox format as we've been doing for some time now. Works a treat. So yeah, please join us for that. We have round number 1 of our GT3 Liga on Assetto Corsa Competizione on PC. So it's season number 5. Yeah, first round at Zolder on Thursday evening. That was our main GT3 League. It's moved from Sundays to Thursday evenings. On Friday, we've got round number 1. Sorry, not round number 1. We've got evaluation night number 1 for our BMW 235i Championship on Race Room. So that's Red Bull Ring National for the first evaluation night of 2 before the league gets underway a couple of weeks later on. And then this Saturday afternoon at about 1:30 in the afternoon, nice early stream for us, we have qualifying and Super Pole for the OTL 6 Hours of Monza, our second ACC endurance event on PC. So yeah, very much looking forward to that. Qualifying and Super Pole on Halloween in the afternoon, 1:30 to 2 o'clock UK time. Just starts just after 2, I believe. I will be getting going a little bit before that. And then the race, obviously, the Saturday after on November the 7th. So yes, lots to look forward to, lots to come in the future. So hopefully you can join me for some of that. But yeah, some good racing tonight. Thoroughly enjoyed that. Hopefully AMS2 only gets bigger and better and more popular. I think we can see some amazing racing. It's a great mix of cars and great mix of tracks. So it's very much its own thing. And yeah, very much enjoying it. Yeah, we can sort stuff out. Yeah, we can. I was thinking of getting some people hopping in. So yes, we can. We'll definitely work something out. But yeah, thoroughly enjoyed that tonight. Fortunately, we saw what happened. A couple of incidents in the races, but that's racing. Sometimes it's going to happen. But if they're reported, they'll get looked at by our incident panel, as everything does, and adjudicated. That's a long word. It's not that long a word. I'm just making a mess of it. Adjudicated accordingly. So yes, thank you very much everybody for watching. Yes, you said, sorry, I did read. I replied to you, Leg. Duh. Yes, we'll have a work. I'll chat to you about that. We'll work something out. So yes, anyways, yeah, cheers for watching everybody. I will catch you tomorrow, hopefully if you can make it, for a bit of Project Cars 2 on Xbox. That will be amazing. I'm certain of that. I know for sure that grid is basically half a second between the front and the back. So knowing what those guys can be like on Xbox and Project Cars, that could be some unbelievable racing. But yeah, round 1 tomorrow at... Actually, where is round 1? Let's have a quick check. I can't remember. And I haven't put it in the calendar. I did know, but let's have a look. Do you know what? Solid 2 seconds. You can wait with me. It is at... Tick tock, tick tock. It is at... I think it is at Watkins Glen Short. So yeah, not a track. You see us doing all that often. Harassed me. Very nice, Leg. Very kind. But yeah, Watkins Glen Short. So 3 races tomorrow. Haven't seen us do that circuit for some time. So yeah, looking forward to that. Should be good. But yeah, hopefully you can join me then. But if not, hopefully take care and I will see you shortly. But yeah, lots to come this week. So hopefully you can join me as much as possible. So yeah, thank you everybody for watching. Have a good evening. I will see you next time.